Welcome to the onboard video training of Kaku.
Shows the real course of the vessel. But where are the GPS markings?
This video will highlight the common observations by vetting inspectors when auditing the navigational requirements as per Chapter 4 of the Vessel Inspection Questionnaire. It is also intended to show the correct procedures to follow with respect to the commonly identified deficiencies. The bridge is very often the first location to be visited by the vetting inspector after scrutiny of the documents in the master's cabin. Once on bridge, the vetting inspector will interact with the navigating officer, who is very often the second officer on board.
The buoy, the rack, both are missing.
Sir, the course was this way then.
Okay. See.
One of the areas of detailed inspection on bridge will be the use of navigational charts, the information plotted therein, and maintenance of the same. The common deficiencies observed are: torn and taped charts may be in use, very old copies of charts in use which still show old course lines erased but still apparent. The latest edition of the chart may not be in use. The chart has not been corrected to the latest notice to mariners, or the correction has not been carried out on the chart. The T and P notices have not been plotted on the chart in pencil. The courses are laid using a pen. There are visible signs of use of highlighters and permanent marking pens. Parallel indexing is done using floating objects and without cross-checking the position of same. Parallel indexing not carried out when navigating in coastal areas. The shallow areas have not been marked as no-go areas. The vessel position was not plotted at intervals, as specified in the passage plan. The positions of the vessel were not transferred from one chart to the next chart. Celestial fixes not being used for ocean passages. Reliance of deep-sea positions only on DGPS. Position fixing by DGPS when there was alternative reliable option of fixing vessel's position by radar or visual landmarks. UKC was not marked when vessel transiting close to shallow waters or no-go areas. Abort positions not marked on course lines to indicate the position on the track beyond which the vessel is not to proceed unless safe to do so. Wheel over positions not marked on chart at waypoints when vessel carrying out sharp alteration of courses. Smaller scale charts were being used when larger scale chart were available for the same area. Another important document to be checked in conjunction with the charts is the passage plan prepared by the navigating officer for the current voyage. Some common observations with respect to the passage plan. Maybe the passage plan has not been completed. The passage plan not verified by the master and not signed by other watchkeepers. The under-kill clearance calculations were not correct, with vessel transiting a port approach area having UKC less than as recommended by company guidelines. There was no specific advice from the company permitting same. The passage plan for the pilot to berth and berth to pilot was not completed. Various other records, checklists, and publications will be checked for correct entries and their corrections. The chart correction log was not being maintained correctly. The last notice to mariners was more than 2 months old. Deck logbook entries not correct, for example the watch levels not entered, radar performance not recorded at end of watch, vessel positions not entered, change of con not entered, fire and safety rounds being taken during the watch hours of darkness, with only one man on bridge. Use of correction fluid to delete wrong entries which is not permitted. The performance monitor not being used for checking the performance of the radar. Arrival and departure checklists are not completed correctly. Pilot-master interchange checklist not completed correctly, and sometimes no signature of the pilot. The vessel maneuvering characteristics on display are not in the prescribed IMO format. The autopilot to manual changeover instructions of steering were not posted. The master's standing orders were not signed by all the watchkeepers. The master's night order book was not being used by the master on daily basis at sea or anchor. The compass error book shows very high deviations, much higher than the deviation card that is more than 3 degrees. No record of errors being checked using leading lights or transit bearings. Latest editions of List of Lights, Sailing Directions, ALRS, not on board and/or are not corrected to the latest notice to mariners on board the vessel. The T&P corrections. navigational warnings, Navtex warnings, not filed correctly. The echo sounder is not marked at time of passing critical navigation areas or on berthing. The radar performance monitor readings should be recorded in the radar log, and only satisfactory remark should not be written. Navtex warnings were not plotted on the chart, and no acknowledgement of same on the printed sheet. The Navtex was not selected for use with the correct station. The MF-HF transmitter antenna was not earthed during cargo operations. AIS was not operating in the low power mode or 1 watt at time of inspection, or switched off as per ISGO-TT requirements. Annual servicing of the gyro compass, or as per manufacturer's instructions, not carried out. Annual test record of VDR not available. The inspector will carry out a close inspection of various equipments on the bridge and check for their conformity to correct operations and maintenance. The appearance of company posters and extracts of company instructions further help the inspector in verifying the best navigational practices being pursued by the vessel. The navigating bridge is one of the most important locations to be audited, with more and more focus being assigned to same, due to the high rate of maritime casualties arising out of poor navigational procedures followed on board vessels.